Coach, what do you feel is the I know there's got to be a number of things, but is there something you can point out as something that was the biggest thing you got out of your experience in working with the Golden State Warriors?
Great question. So much, obviously, from the individuals there and all of their kind of quality and character and traits to the collective. I think Steve and Bob Myers, but obviously working closer with Steve, it's it's beautiful to see how he manages the group and is able to lead and create an environment. So I gained so much from that experience that I think has influenced the way I've tried to approach this position and our organization. And so really grateful for that experience, and have a lot of great memories, and also a lot of great friends over there.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Steve, how important was the fact that you kind of built your relationship with Kevin there at Golden State to your decision to join the Nets with the chance to coach him?
It was a big part of it. I think our relationship dates back pre-Golden State, so we had a pretty strong relationship going into that. Then he came to Golden State and got to work together kind of more officially. So that all that history, I think, played a big role in it. Gave me a comfort level with the type of person and character that would be, leading our team. And, his game speaks for itself, but it's all the other things, his passion for the game, how he cares about his teammates, that stuff, is pivotal to a team's success. So that definitely was a huge part of me being interested in this.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure you've had a chance to dive into film at least a little bit. What's your scouting telling you about Steph Curry as he comes off an injury? And when you talk about defense being the priority, how do you plan to slow down a guy like Steph, seeing as though, A, you kind of have maybe a little bit of insight, having worked with him in Golden State a little bit, but B, when you see a player of his caliber who's going to be asked to shoulder a lot more of a load now with Klay out, how do you slow him down, and do you view this as a test for your defense?
Christian, I was hoping you'd tell me how to slow him down. That's yet to be determined or seen from anybody, but obviously he's one of the all-time greats, and we have to pay a lot of attention to him, especially this season. I think with Klay being out, and he's gonna shoot from everywhere and early and often, and that's the way it should be, because he is the greatest shooter of all time. But we just have to pay a lot of attention. We have to be diligent with our talk and our support, and be up at the level, and be able to not give him as many clean looks as possible, and make him work for what he does get.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
You've kind of a two-parter. Piggybacking off of Christian, I mean, Draymond being out, how big of a difference is that for them, and how you plan for what they could do? And on a lighter note, with all the Phoenix ties on the court tomorrow, I mean, is this the largest 7 seconds or less reunion there would have been between Bruce and Steve, and then everyone on your staff that has ties to them at that time?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of old Phoenix alumni for sure. Yeah, I mean, Draymond, though, is a big player. He's an incredibly intelligent and physical defender. He's a talented playmaker, and just a great competitor and winner. So anytime he's not in the lineup, it's going to hurt your team a lot. But I think it's also important that we don't underestimate some of the other guys on their team. Kayvon Looney's an excellent player. Marquise Chris has really grown, and they really believe in him and like him a lot. So, and then they've got two athletic wings and skillful wings, and Wiggins and Oubre. So there's plenty of talent to go around there. Maybe just not the names we're accustomed to seeing. But Steph makes everyone better. He creates space for everyone because of the gravity and attention he garners. So they're going to be tough, and they're going to challenge us and test us, and that's what we need. We need to be tested.
Malika Andrews, ESPN.
Steve, after Kevin Durant tore his Achilles, Bob Myers was in tears and said, "If you need to blame anybody, blame me. I'm the head of our basketball operations." What do you remember from how that organization was feeling at that time when Kevin went down after laying everything on the line for his team.
They were heartbroken. They have an incredible medical staff, and they've had a rash of injuries that have been really unlucky. And so people can look to point fingers, but you can't control for everything in professional sports. And so it was, an awful scenario where they're at the end of the road. They're in the NBA Finals. Kevin comes back from a calf, disastrously tears his Achilles. But, I think people made the assumption that it was the calf that led to the Achilles. And maybe at the end it did. But with 3 medical opinions, probably 100 or more years of medical experience. That is not the history of that injury. It's not a calf tear turns into Achilles rupture. And so it just looks like that from the outside. So a lot of it's bad luck, but to get back to your question, it's, they were heartbroken because they all, they really do put family and people before basketball in that organization. And so Kevin wanting to play, wanting to compete, they wanted to support him in doing that, but they also know there's a risk, and were heartbroken when that risk came to life.
Tina Cervasio with Fox 5 New York.
Steve, there's a lot going on surrounding your first game as an NBA head coach, your first official game. Obviously the return of Durant to basketball, Durant's debut with the Nets, facing Golden State. So for you personally, though, and you've surrounded yourself with a great coaching staff, and you're a basketball lifer, but what are some of the challenges you expect maybe coming up in game in this very first game and early on in this season, some of the unexpected moments, and how are you prepared for them?
Well, we were such a baby. We've just started playing together. We have, 11, 12 practices under our belt, a couple preseason games, a condensed schedule and a shortened training camp. So there's a lot of questions and not a ton of answers. I think we'll figure it out as we go, and hopefully we'll be really competitive out the gates. But, we haven't been punched in the mouth yet. And we have to develop that resolve, that collective spirit to be able to handle adversity and all those things that teams develop in time. We haven't had that time together. So there's a lot of moments, there's a lot of struggle and adversity that we need to face to build that resolve, and that we've yet to face. So plenty of questions to be asked of our team this year, and hopefully we are able to respond quickly and answer as many of them as possible in a timely fashion, so we're really competitive and can win games while we're growing and improving as a group.
And last question, Otis Livingston with CBS New York.
Hey, Steve. So much anticipation, so much excitement surrounding this team once Kevin and Kyrie decided to come here. What's your level of excitement to finally see those guys on the court together in a real basketball game in your first game as a head coach?
We're all really excited. I mean, it's this is what we love, is competing. And so now that it counts and we're playing for real, it's always like the first day of school. Everyone's excited and ready to go. And there's obviously some extra interest because it is all of these firsts. It's Kevin and Kai's kind of first time together in Nets uniform. We got a formidable roster making its first kind of appearance together, and then playing the Warriors. Kind of a dynasty of this past decade. So it's an exciting first opening night, and exciting first on many fronts. And I'm definitely excited to see the work we've put in and how it translates early in this campaign, and we'll go from there. But there's nothing like opening night and seeing how our team responds to the spotlight.